So, why is an investment giant like Goldman Sachs so bullish on the e-commerce titan JD.com, especially when the market seems, pretty skeptical? Okay, let's dive right into their analysis and see what they're seeing that maybe the rest of us are missing.
And it all kicks off with this number. Goldman Sachs isn't just kind of hopeful here. Their research report is projecting a potential 42% upside in JD.com's stock price. I mean, that is a really bold call.
And yeah, that's the big question we're going to unpack in this explainer. What are the core things giving Goldman this much confidence? It's a fascinating story, really, of long-term strategy versus some serious short-term pain.
And just listen to the language they're using here. They aren't just saying the stock is cheap. They're calling the business underappreciated and differentiated. That's basically Wall Street speak for a company that has a unique edge that the market is just completely overlooking.
Just so we're all on the same page, everything we're looking at today comes straight from this Goldman Sachs research report. It's also worth noting their disclosure that, yes, they do have a business and investment banking relationship with JD.com, which is a pretty standard thing to see in these types of reports.
So the first piece of their argument is that JD's main business, the thing that made them a giant in the first place, is still firing on all cylinders. Even with all the intense competition and the economic headwinds you keep hearing about, the report points out that JD's core retail business is feeling confident. The very foundation of the company isn't just stable, it's actually growing. And this confidence isn't just wishful thinking. It is backed by some very specific drivers. They're expecting double-digit growth. They're actively grabbing more market share in big-ticket items like smartphones and appliances. And all the while, their sales of everyday stuff are growing too. The crucial takeaway here is that the core engine of the business is rock solid. All right, so now let's see how that strong core lets them make their next big move, because this is where the story gets really, really interesting. JD is making a massive, multi-billion-dollar bet on food delivery. But this isn't just about dropping off dinner. This is the magic number. A whopping 40% of people who order food through JD also end up buying other products from their main retail site. Now, that is not a coincidence. That is a strategy. This really pulls back the curtain on their synergy cycle. See, food delivery isn't some separate side hustle. It's a powerful engine for getting new customers. It brings people into the JD world, it gets them to open the app more often, and once they're there, they shop for other things. It's just an incredibly powerful feedback loop.
So basically, Goldman sees this as a much smarter way to get and keep customers than just pouring money into traditional online ads. Every single food order becomes another potential shopping trip for electronics or clothes or groceries. But, and this is a big but, this strategy costs a fortune, and the report is very upfront about that. We're talking about a massive investment of 13 billion RMB in a single quarter. That kind of spending hits the bottom line hard, creating what the report calls near-term group profit weakness. This is the pain part of the whole equation. So if there's all this short-term pain, where's the long-term gain? Well, this brings us to the ultimate payoff, what Goldman calls the re-rating story. It sounds like a bit of Wall Street jargon, but it's actually a pretty simple idea. A re-rating is just when the market fundamentally rethinks what a company is worth, and usually that means the valuation goes way up. Goldman believes JD is right on the verge of one of those moments. And this gets right to the heart of their entire thesis. Right now, the market sees JD today, heavy spending, weaker profits. But Goldman is looking ahead to JD tomorrow, a company that has used that investment to build a sustainable pipeline of new users and new services, which they believe will deserve a much, much higher valuation. And they're putting some serious numbers behind this vision. Just look at the revenue they're projecting. It's forecast to grow from roughly 1.16 trillion RMB to over 1.43 trillion in just 2 years. That's a jump of nearly 25%. And they believe that growth is unlocked directly by this investment strategy. Now, of course, no investment thesis is ever a sure thing, so we have to look at what could go wrong. The report is very open about the potential hurdles. The risks here are pretty straightforward, but they are significant. What if competition in e-commerce and food delivery gets even tougher than they're planning for?
What if the growth in their key retail business starts to slow down? And what if they get stuck in a price war that just keeps squeezing their margins? Any one of those things could put a major dent in this whole buy thesis. So, when you boil it all down, Goldman's whole argument rests on this one powerful idea. They believe the profit weakness we're seeing today isn't a red flag. It's actually a calculated investment in a much more valuable future.
And that leaves us with the final multi-billion-dollar question, doesn't it? Is this massive, costly bet on food delivery a stroke of genius that's going to create an even more powerful e-commerce machine? Or is it a really risky gamble in an incredibly competitive market? According to Goldman, the answer is clear. But in the end, the market is going to be the final judge.